So today is the 30th of June. It's half of the year has gone. And what an amazing time to have such a conference. It's a good time to be reflecting on where we are at. There has been so much that's happened in the world in the last 6 months, 2 weeks makes a world of difference in your wallet. Ask me, I know I'm a mortgage advisor. And if you don't click on that rate for a couple of weeks or a couple of days, it could be the difference between you paying, a difference of say 200, 300 pounds, just that little bit of time. So time is money. And I really appreciate you all for being here on time. And I will get started. It is the 5th Understanding Money Conference. And I'll tell you just a little bit about this vision that I personally received over probably 7 years ago. And when I wanted to jump on it, I realized that it wasn't time. I wasn't quite ready yet. A little bit of background about myself. My name is Tendayi Ndoro. I live in England, in Milton Keynes. And I've worked in banking, financial services, for pretty much all of my life. And one of the things that I'm so passionate about is helping people get from A to B with regards to their finances. And one of the things that really kept bugging me, nudging me, was, we don't know certain rules or certain things, and people would be falling into the same pits. And I kind of had this conversation, and it was, why are we always getting scammed? Why is it that we are the ones who are always borrowing, to put food on our table? And why are we not the ones who are investing? And I realized that a lot of the times it's because we don't understand. We don't understand the tools that are available. We don't understand the way things work. And so I embarked on this journey with an incredible team. They're amazing people who just bought into the vision and started running along with me, from people who pray to people who actually come and speak to people who on a day-to-day basis help clients with literally putting things into place. So this year is the 5th year we are doing this. And I'm super excited because the theme we have is accessing your wealthy place. And I believe everybody has a wealthy place within them that they can access. And note the word access means you need to get into it because you probably are not there yet. And this applies to everyone. Even if you're a multi-billionaire, there's another level of access that is available as long as you are here on earth. You hear stories of people who've made billions and they've sold and bought companies and made major deals and just packed it all up one day and, spent more time on the ground doing a lot of philanthropic work. So I don't know what your wealthy place looks like, but I'm hoping that over the next 3 days, we will touch on some chords through this amazing panel of speakers who are here with us. Some are here tonight, some can't make it this evening, but we are here to just give you some nuggets. So drink, eat, take what you need to get, so that we can, hopefully 12 months from here, we will have stories of people saying, gosh, Tendai, I connected with this. I got over this. Here I am. My story has changed. Now, today we are aiming to finish in about a couple of hours time, around 8 o'clock. Sadly, one of our speakers had a sudden event that took place that isn't going to allow them to be joining us today. And then we are back tomorrow between 6 and 8:30 again. A lineup of incredible individuals who will literally just be equipping us, giving us what we need in our tool bag to be able to go and access that wealthy place. And on Saturday, we start in the morning at 9:30 till about 1 o'clock again, where we're literally just going to be doing more of the tools, more of the groundwork, more of the numbers as well on there. So I am going to start off our session tonight by just talking about this theme of understanding your wealthy place. So I'm just going to share a presentation with you. So I see a lot of locals here in Milton Keynes. It's good to have you here. Fantastic. A thumbs up if you can see that for me. Can you all see my presentation? Can you see my screen? Fantastic. Excellent. Right. Now, this wealthy place that we talk about, I don't know, like I was saying earlier, that it's very different for everybody. Oops. Apologies. Let me just do that. That will allow me. So I'm an author. I write books. I enjoy writing books. One of my dream things is when I'm lying on a beach and writing and getting insights. That's really my happy place. And one of the things we'll talk about today is actually how to use some of those gifts, those skills and talents to monetize what you are naturally good at and what you enjoy doing. So what does your wealthy place look like? If I were to ask you now, Kundai, what does that look like? What things bring you that satisfaction, that happiness, that peace and sense of fulfillment? What do you dream about? What keeps you up at night? Some of those passions, some of those things that you desperately desire, are a trigger within you to begin to tell you that there's more than what you're currently doing that is available to you whilst you're still on this side of existence. You often hear that statement that, the grave is one of the wealthiest places because it's filled with unmet dreams, unwritten books. And it's people who just did not step out to take it because perhaps life happened. They had so many trials. If you just look at the world today, gosh, there's so many obstacles to overcome. And that is a given in life, that obstacles will be there. But there is that wealthy place that you dream about. I know so many people who want to have a ranch, who want to start a farm, who dream of sailing, to the sunset with their beloved and a nice, beautiful yacht and, just going out and sailing around the world. I remember once meeting someone who had made their dream happen. They sold their house and bought a yacht, sailed around the world with their children, and they just materialized that particular wealthy place. One of the reasons you and I are here today is because wealth, to achieve that wealthy place, to get to that wealthy place, we need money or the exchange or equivalent or, something that's relatively at par with it, because most things that require us to do anything from this webinar, you would not be here if you didn't have the money to pay for your Wi-Fi bill, if you didn't have the laptop, if someone hadn't given it to you or bought it for you. So wealth is an abundance of valuable possessions or money, things that have value. So when we speak of valuable possessions, the reason I say your wealthy place is I don't really want to limit it specifically just to the tangibles, although that was what we're going to be focusing on in this seminar. But there also comes a trade-off oftentimes where if all you're doing is making money and you have no friends, or you isolate your children, again, there probably is a feeling of not quite satisfied there, loneliness perhaps, I don't know, but what that place is, where that pinches. It's a plentiful supply of a particular desirable thing. That's wealth. That's why you can see people, virtually living with next to nothing and just being so happy, so content. For them, they see themselves as rich. So it's also about your mindset, your perception. Now, wealth measures the value of all assets of worth owned by a person, community, company, or a country, and is determined, by taking the total market value of all physical and intangible assets that are owned, then subtracting the debts. How much do you own? You can say you have 20 properties and people will be very impressed, but if all of them are 90% loan to value, you're pretty heavily geared and you might not feel as rich. Although in numbers, it looks like you're wealthy, the whole street is yours, but if it's all highly leveraged with debt, that might not feel like such a wealthy place. Of course, the income streams, I've seen over the years individuals who earn crazy, incredible money, but all of it is spent And someone who's on a significantly lower income could probably have much more disposable income, much more freedom, because their wealthy place perhaps is not as exuberant or as expensive as another. Now, I want you to really take a few minutes just to think about where you are right now and where you want to be. Because I want to suggest to you that you are incredibly wealthy right now. There is an abundance of currency that you already have right now. I'm not talking about the balance in your bank account, but I'm talking about your ability to use your choices on how you trade these currencies that you currently have with you. So if you put here, and I want to get here. I'm here is A, B is this is where I want to get to. Now, with those options of this is where I am, this is where I want to get to, you have to have something to shovel you or move you along. And the number one currency that you have that's no different to Elon Musk is 24 hours in a day. You have time. And how you choose to use that time on a day-to-day basis is going to make a difference with the output that you're going to have. Are you spending more time watching other people making money? Are you spending more time watching videos on Instagram and thinking, wow, or are you creating, using your creative gifts to see what you carry within you to be able to release some income potential? And believe me, there's absolutely nothing wrong with entertainment. There's 7 mountains of society that ensure that we enjoy the lives that we enjoy. But I want to say that there is a place on one of those mountains, at least for you. And are you possessing your place there? Are you standing on that place? I'll go into those mountains in a few minutes. But time is what you have. Relationships is the next currency that you are rich in. And if you don't have it, you can go and get it. You often hear a statement saying that, you're as rich as your network, or your net wealth is really correlated to your network, the people that you know. It's not so much about what you know, but it's about who you know. How good are you at nurturing your relationships? How do you value those around you? Who is around you? How can you harness your friendships, your relationships? Are you honest? Are you transparent? Are you clear with individuals? What are you known for? What reputation have you built amongst your peers and those who are in a position to possibly aid you, catapult you, connect you? Can people connect you or introduce you to somebody for your business and know that they are going to be in good hands? Or are they scared that their image would be tarnished too because you never deliver, you're not there on time, you don't, show up in certain areas, and so the way that you've managed your relationships has not been the best? What skills, what gifts, what talents do you possess? They are there to help you. I've just marveled during this COVID period, which has been amazing for so many people because it's just leveled the playing field. I discovered so many people starting to make income streams with things that previously were shut doors. You could be in the bushes of a remote rural area as long as you are connected and you have your gift and you have your talent, you can plug in to the abundance that is in the global economy and tap and siphon some of that wealth out. What level of faith or calculated risks are you prepared to take? We can come away from this conference and say, wow, there were some incredible things that were spoken about. But if you don't do anything about it, I tell you, we're going to be here next year and you're going to say it didn't work because you have not taken any action. It's a requirement for you to take action, for you to see certain results. And when I was just quickly looking at, some of the wealthiest countries in the world versus the most impoverished nations, I looked at their history. I looked at Luxembourg and their GDP per capita, which means that of the resources that they have as a nation, what they've managed to do is they've managed to leverage it, to position it in a way that releases some income from the global economy so that their people are better off. And I began to think about scaling that down to community level, down to corporate level. It's half year end now. Most of you who work in corporates, you're looking at the numbers. You're looking at how have we performed? What is your performance looking like? How have we done compared to our peers, compared to the wealthy place we wanted to be at? You have to be intentional about the destination you want to see and begin to make some moves, take some calculated risks. So for companies, it might be recruiting more staff. It might be, purchasing some equipment. You could have a mine that we know that there's gold in this mine and that there is machinery that is needed to dig out the gold. But if you cannot invest and part with some of your money to buy that equipment, it will just be known that there's a gold mine, and surely they say there's a word that it has loads of gold in it, but we'll never know because no one has made the choice and the decision to invest in it. So how are you balancing your financial books to access your wealthy space? Throughout the next 3 days, we will have various speakers who will give us strategies for making money, who will talk about how you can invest money, who will tell you and share, little nuggets on spending money, who will look at how you can actually borrow wisely. Debt is not all bad. Sometimes you've got to borrow, to leverage or get in on something that is good. How do you do that? How do you protect the wealth? Because at the end, we want the net asset value to be higher than what it was. Your net asset value to increase from this conference on. And I want to warn you that one of the things that you will come across on this journey, on this decision that you have made to access your wealthy place, is some enemies. In my native tongue, in Zimbabwean language, they call them vavengi. And these enemies are actually playing a pivotal part in influencing the choices that you make and how you are trading the currencies that you actually have. Now, whether you're an individual or a community or a whole nation, it is pivotal for you to deal with these enemies because they are the ones that are influencing your choices and standing in between you and your wealthy place. I spoke a little earlier about countries like Luxembourg. When you look at the history, they've experienced war. They've experienced all sorts. They've been experienced people claiming that this is mine. So they've gone through certain journeys. But at a certain point, someone decided that no, we are not going to be in bondage anymore. And we are going to make this move just like the children of Israel did in the Bible. They decided that, you know what? We're not going to be in this wilderness place. Firstly, you're in captivity. You don't want to be in a wilderness place. You want to enter into the promise. Because guess what? Our life expectancies here on earth are not that long. 83 years, around about that is in the United Kingdom. In other countries, it's much lower and some higher. But no one knows when you're going to have that plug removed from you. But whilst you're here, you have this objective of overcoming these enemies. And these are enemies, the enemy of action, which is procrastination and double-mindedness. You cannot make up your mind what you want to do, and I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes. An enemy of progress. You were supposed to be somewhere else now. If we look at two people who start a race, the one gets further ahead and they had the exact same tools, same kit. Why? Someone has just been ignorant and making mistakes along the way. Oh, well, I didn't know. We're here this weekend to get some information, to get some knowledge, so we can stop perishing to our enemies. Poor decisions. Enemy of confidence. Doubt. Oh, I don't know if I can do this. Lamenting on your past mistakes keeps you away from the new that is available every second, every moment. We're in a new moment right now. Self-sabotage stands against your promotion. You're always cutting yourself in the foot. You do things, make choices, do decisions that are contrary to the breakthrough that you've been waiting for. Fear, that's a big one. What if people don't come? What if no one comes to buy it? What if I fail? So what? You try something else. And when you hear the stories of some of the most successful people, you hear they were rejected ample times and kept getting up and trying a new way. What's the worst that can happen? Inability to take feedback, poor management. Oh, well, she said this to me. And you can't grow if you don't take back feedback, if you don't understand where you're not going right, where things have been going wrong, even in your finances. Enemy of success, laziness, poor strategic thinking. Yeah, we want it like this. We want the miracle money. We want give it to me. Oh, the scammers are having a field day in this climate because it's desperado out there. You can't bounce back because you're constantly in despair. How will I make it happen? How will I pay the bills? Oh, my days, doom and gloom. And guess what? Despair leads to desperation. You literally fall in the hands of those who have set up their nets and their traps to grab yours. Enemy of acceleration, indecision, confusion. Enemy of efficiency. Some nations you go to, you can't believe, you're like, whoa, look at the way the road system works, the traffic system works. Look at the way that you go here. Things work like clockwork. It's a joy. It's a pleasure. Lack of discipline, inability to implement change in time. And the last one that I absolutely love is the enemy of rest, which is strife and soul dependence. That one will rob you of your joy. These mountains, education, religious mountain, family mountain, business, media, sports and entertainment, are all mountains of societal influence that are out there, politics, where your gifts, your skills, your talents can make room for you. If you feel interested in politics and you have this gift of curating events, perhaps you are one who would be organizing governmental events. And, there are ways you can place yourself and decide, this is the mountain I'm going for. Give me that mountain. And age is not a factor in that. You don't have to be, oh, she's too young or she's too old. You can go at it at any time. And one of the ways that you know that you will find, that joy, that satisfaction, that wealth, literally, is that there will be impact with what you do. There will be fruits that last by you taking those chances, those risks, making those faith moves. And that can be a legacy. We look at nations who have it all together and we think, wow. But there are people who did what they needed to do. There are people who invested and made choices, sacrificial choices, to make it better for others tomorrow. There are rewards and profits that come from going and possessing and accessing those mountains, And ultimately, it's about Why are you here? Have you fulfilled your assignment? What a pity, what a shame it would be to leave this space when you were the one who was supposed to have, we're here because someone decided to make Zoom and I'm connecting with you from all over the world. And I love a story in the Bible where it says, David, having served God's purpose in his own generation, fell asleep. We're all at some point going to fall asleep. But what are you supposed to do? How are you supposed to serve your generation? Which mountains of societal influence have got your money on them, are waiting for you to arrive, carrying wealth and great reward for you? And so, as you think about this throughout the weekend, I want you to think about designing or redesigning your life plan or your vision board, other people call it. What does that look like? What key resources do you have right now that you can use? And how can you leverage them better? Or what do you need to do? If you don't know, just write it down. I'm sure one of the speakers over the next few days is going to touch on it and give you that aha, eureka, I found it moment. Which mountains of influence have actually got your money on them? Perhaps you're so good at nurturing people and, and you've been stuck on the religious mountain, perhaps as a pastor and it's, I'm absolutely nothing about pastors, but, you've been feeling the frustration of people not coming to church. And it's like, well, actually, go out to the people. There's so many people who are broken, who are hurting, who are needing those counseling services, that listening ear. Are you just stuck on one mountain when you can move to another mountain? That family mountain needs you. How can you place and position the gifting, the anointing that you carry so that it can make room for you and set you before great? Who are the most important people in your life? Have you factored them into your plans? Are you including them in the journey? And how are you going to turn that destiny truck so you can access that wealthy place? We need to keep a pulse on the numbers as we journey along. You have so much wealth inside of you. Thank you for listening.